General Hospital fans' hearts leaped along with Trina when she saw that Spencer had not become a casualty of their harrowing adventure in Greenland. Rewatched their joyful reunion below, and as our pulses returned to normal, semi-normal, Nicholas Alexander Chavez took to Twitter, noting that you guys have a lot of questions, 'cause it was a beautiful moment between these two characters, and the one question that I'm seeing getting asked is, was that planned? How many times did we rehearse the jump into my arms? I don't know if you saw that, he continued, and oh yes, we saw. But I mean, if that was a diving competition, Tabiana Ali would have gotten a 10. She leaped into my arms, which was beautiful. The castmates must have practiced that move a lot beforehand, right? Nobody goes to the Olympics saying, we'll wing it when we get there. But in fact, we rehearsed it once, Chavez said, and she came up to me, and she was just supposed to hug me. It was supposed to be a nice embrace. We were gonna turn around, we were gonna kiss. Obviously, it didn't quite go down like that in the end. Tabiana in the spur of the moment, and I love her. I love that she did this in the spur of the moment. When we go to the actual take, the Emmy winner explained, I'm like walking with a limp. I've come from just escaping the ship, and she jumps into my arms without warning. And it was beautiful. I loved it. Definitely threw me off for a second, he added, and once I recovered, it was just so sweet. But no, it was not rehearsed at all. It was completely improvised from Tabiana's perspective. Definitely one of my favorite things I've ever filmed for General Hospital. So there you go, a little bit of behind-the-scenes info on that scene. The moment has become an Insta-fave among viewers. On Soaps.com's Instagram, Millscript75 cheered that jump into his arms was perfect. Added Drattel, that leap was everything. She was jumping into this with her whole heart. Cheered Lisa Jan Jones 05. That's award-winning right there. Gave me goosebumps. Almost like we could feel the love. In the bunker in Greenland, Valentin is brought in and Victor is impressed that he found him. Victor warns him that his men will soon locate his accomplices, but Valentin claims he came alone. Obrecht asks about Willow, and Valentin says she's still alive. Valentin asks about Victor's hostages and Victor says they too are alive for now. He orders Obrecht to get on with the testing. Valentin asks, what testing? Victor says he's saving the world and Valentin will help. Valentin learns Victor's plan off-camera and calls his father delusional. Victor hoped to have Valentin by his side in this new world, but his betrayals have changed his mind on that. Valentin tells his father it's not too late to end this madness, and he can have his son back. Valentin says together they can set the world right without lives lost. Victor says he was foolish enough to trust him once, he won't again. Victor demands to know who he came with. But Valentin insists he came alone. Victor explains this is what is going to happen. Obrecht will inject him with the pathogen, and then he'll give him the answers he wants for the antidote. He warns if he doesn't give them any answers and dies, then they'll test the antidote on Trina and Spencer. Victor has his men drag Valentin off, and he tells Obrecht, let's go make history. Valentin is strapped in a chair in a room, and Obrecht enters with a syringe. Victor watches through a window as Obrecht pleads with Victor, he's your son. Victor says not anymore. Obrecht injects Valentin and tells him that she's sorry. He replies he knows. Obrecht leaves the room and tells Victor what he's doing is insane. Valentin asks how long before he's dead. Victor says he thinks he needs a tissue, as blood drips from his nose. On the haunted star, two men try and escort Spencer to his room. Spencer struggles to break free, stomping on one's foot, who says he'll pay for that. As he goes to punch Spencer, Curtis appears and says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Curtis says the boss doesn't like those who rough up his family. Spencer says he just wanted to check on Trina, whose room is next to the engine room and there are a lot of fumes, so he's worried about her. Curtis tells the guards not to harm the boss family and takes off. The one guard then punches Spencer in the stomach. Curtis finds Trina's room, takes out the guard outside and enters. Trina runs into his arms. Curtis promises to bring her home and needs to get her off this boat. He says once she's safe he'll come back for the others. She refuses to leave Spencer behind, which Curtis assumed she'd say. He orders her to do what he says, which includes running if he tells her. They head out to find Spencer. In the main salon, Trina yells at the two guards who are beating up Spencer to stop it. One of the men tells the other to get her, and he rushes Trina. Curtis appears and takes down the guard, but drops his gun in the process. The other guard rushes Curtis. At the Quartermain gatehouse, Michael tells Willow there was one tradition they forgot to do, and carries her outside and then back over the threshold. Later they talk about how the wedding ended, and what Sonny did to help Drew. Willow says if the worst happens, she hates the idea of the family divided between him and his father. She asks him to think about how many people at the wedding love both him and Sonny, and how this rift affects them all. She says all those people don't want to choose, and can he for their sakes find a way to coexist with his father? Michael tells her there is something she doesn't know, and it's better he shows her. He pulls out his phone and plays the video of Sonny making a deal with Pikeman, and explains what she's seeing. He says this footage will send his father to prison for the rest of his life. Willow asks why would Sonny do this, and Michael guesses money. Willow notes he's rich enough. Michael says Port Charles is Sonny's territory, and the Pikeman group owes him favors for this and likely has politicians and businessmen who can be useful to Sonny. Willow asks how about the video. Michael admits it was from Dexon, who actually works for him, and has been working to get him information on Sonny's criminal activities. He says with this information, Sonny will be out of their lives for good. Willow cries, "What about your brother and sisters?" He says they'll finally be safe from Sonny. Willow becomes upset, starts breathing heavily and passes out. Dex stops by Joss' dorm room, and they quickly make their way to the bed. After making love, Dex asks about the wedding. Joss says the wedding was wonderful. She says she saw Christina, which was tense as she's loyal to her dad and thinks he's done nothing wrong. However, they all put their grudges aside to enjoy the night. He asks about the reception, but she tells him there wasn't one. She fills him in on the SEC coming to take her mom for questioning on insider trading, and how Sonny was able to help Drew evade them for now and continue looking for Willow. She says this complicates things given Michael is trying to bring him to justice. She knows Sonny's broken the law and has to face justice, but then he stands up for them, and she realizes he's complicated. Dex admits he got the evidence Michael needs tonight, and this will be over if he turns it into the authorities. Joss asks what if Dex goes down with Sonny. Dex doesn't believe that will happen as he turned over the evidence and can cut a deal. Joss asks if there is any way Sonny could get out of this. Dex doubts it and wonders if she wants him to get out of it. She notes Christina, Donna, and Avery will be devastated by this. Dex says he's sorry and didn't mean to hurt her family. She assures him he didn't. Sonny did, and he never thought he'd get caught. In Portia's office at the hospital, Marshall drops by to check on her. When she realizes he hasn't talked to Curtis about what's happening, she tells him about Trina's call, and that Curtis and Drew left to try and rescue her. Marshall knows there is nothing Curtis won't do for his family, especially someone who might be his daughter. Portia cries that Curtis has been there for her through all of this, and when Trina called, she told her that she loved her. She sobs she never thought she'd hear that again. She would give anything to just have Curtis and Trina home safe. She feels stuck and unable to help her daughter. Marshall promises to stay with her no matter how long this takes. In Anna's room, Robert leaves a message for Deanne as Scott snores. Liz knocks on the door and says she's coming in. Robert slips out and tells Liz that Anna is sleeping. She insists on checking on her, but Robert can't let her do that. Robert says Anna is exhausted, so she should come back later. In the room, Scotty finally wakes up. He grabs the phone, but the cord is missing. He finds it on the floor and plugs it in and asks the operator to connect him to the WSB in the hall. Liz asks what the real reason Robert doesn't want her to go in there is. He tells Liz something is going on that is highly confidential and she has to trust him. Suddenly, an agent from the WSB arrives and demands to get in the room. The agent bursts in and Liz sees Scott inside. She asks what is going on. Scott says Robert drugged him to keep him from telling the WSB about Victor's biological weapon. Robert yells, "You idiot, you just killed the woman you purport to love," along with 3 innocent hostages. On the next General Hospital, Brooklyn asks Tracy how long she thinks she can hold this over her head. TJ says to Liz it's like nothing else matters. Ava warns Nina she better never find out you tipped them off. Robert demands to be let go. Victor warns Obrecht, Try it and it will be the last thing you do. Curtis continues to fight with the guards on the haunted star, and Trina begs an unconscious Spencer to wake up. Michael calls for paramedics.